Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. For my first video, I'm just doing a quick run through of what I feed all my horses. They currently live outside 24/7 and are grain-free and barefoot. The main part of their diet is free choice coastal Bermuda hay, and as far as supplements, some of it depends on what each individual horse needs, but the main base that I use for every horse is always the same. The first thing I start with is Stanley hay pellets and beet pulp. They have a few different kinds, orchard grass and timothy, but right now I'm just feeding the straight alfalfa pellets. The main reason I use this brand is because it's basically just straight hay with no extra binders or vitamin and mineral enhancements. I'm kind of picky about this because my goal is always to have their vitamins and minerals balanced as much as possible instead of just throwing large amounts of everything at them and hoping for the best. These pellets are also pretty soft and they break down super easy in water for mashes. The amount I feed varies a lot and it's not super important to me. I do tend to feed more if I'm trying to get more salt into them in the summer. The next thing I feed is flax. It comes in an oil or ground or as whole seeds, and right now my preference is feeding it whole because the horses seem to prefer the consistency a bit better. For my horses, they don't have access to good pasture and their grass intake is actually limited as much as possible due to the sugar content. So the main idea behind feeding flax is that it has the correct omega-3 to omega-6 ratio for horses, which is approximately 4:1. That's roughly what they would be getting from good grass. I do feed flax over chia seeds because feeding chia seeds for the omega-3 benefit does require them to be ground, and flax is the easier option as far as affordability. Also, it's the best thing for their coat and skin. Their coats stay soft and shiny and they don't get things like rain rot even with them living out 24/7. Instead of a salt block or a mineral block, I feed at least 2 tablespoons of loose white salt and sometimes more depending on the weather and how much they are working and sweating. The 50-pound bags at Tractor Supply are around $6. They always get white salt instead of the red mineral or Himalayan salt because I'm always trying to minimize their iron intake as much as possible. This next thing I feed is vitamin E powder by Ultra Cruise, and there's so much that I can say about this, but basically I give it to Stella to support her hind end and her top line development. I use this brand because it's very affordable for how concentrated it is, and it's natural versus synthetic, which is much easier for a horse's body to absorb. The bag recommends 2 scoops a day, which is 8,000 international units, and I only dose it at 4,000 for Stella and 2,000 for Autumn and Kyanite. When Autumn was younger and we were still in Alaska, she was actually very deficient in vitamin E, and she couldn't hold her feet up for the farrier without her back legs just shaking. Last but not least is the California Trace, which is their main vitamin and mineral supplement. It comes in a powder or pellet form, and I use both depending on whatever I feel like. The best thing about it is that it has copper and zinc with no added iron, which allows them to grow a strong, healthy hoof that isn't cracking, chipping, or flaring. I mentioned the iron a little bit when I was talking about salt, and there's tons of things you can study about the iron, copper, and zinc relationship. But to try and put it simply, horses, and I would go as far as saying all horses, get way too much iron in their diet just from their hay alone, not to mention everything else they eat that also contains iron. They only need about 400 milligrams a day, and when they're overloaded with iron, their bodies don't have an effective way to eliminate the excess. The only way to correct this problem is by correcting the ratios of iron to zinc to copper, which is 4:4:1. So for as much iron as the horse is getting, they should get an equal amount of zinc and about 1/4 the amount of copper. That's basically why it's so important to pick supplements that don't contribute to the iron problem, because if the iron intake gets too high and out of control, the ratios are forced into an imbalance that's uncorrectable. California Trace has 500 milligrams of zinc, and California Trace Plus has 750 milligrams. There's also a few places online where you can order copper and zinc separately in bulk minerals, and I can put some links down in the description. So that's basically everything that I feed. I'm not really getting into anything else because I don't want this video to go on forever. I could probably do a whole other video just on joint supplements and things. If I have a horse who needs to gain weight or is a picky eater, like they're wasting a lot of hay, or a horse who's used to getting grain or sweet feed and they don't want to try anything new, I'll put them on ProBios or a similar probiotic. Magnesium oxide is also something I like to supplement, and I'll link the brand I get below. Right now, the two darker horses are getting extra copper to help with their black coat pigment, and the two cribbers get aloe vera juice. I'll add random things like that for whoever I think needs it. I know some people feed black oil sunflower seeds for the black coats, and I personally don't because they're high in omega-6, which will cause inflammation. That's also why I stay away from rice bran and any kind of vegetable or corn oil. I don't want to feed anything that's going to interfere with the omega-3 benefits of the flax. So that's basically all I have for today. If you've gotten this far, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.